Hey guys, I just wanted to make a side tutorial for beginners or people that just got their tablet and aren't really sure how this program works or what it can do. So I'm just going to go right ahead and show you some features and tools. So right now I have the pen tool selected and it pretty much works pen on paper, super clean, super thick lines, opaque, and there's some features to it. On right here, if you can see my cursor, minimum size, this is how the pen starts out. Right now it's on 0, so it can be really thin to go to thick. So I can make it really thick if I want to. And if you double click on the actual tool, you'll see some different things. The name, description, and these two other things. The stroke stabilizer I'm actually currently using. It pretty much tells you what it does. Sets the stroke smoothly, level individually. And if you don't really know what that means, as I wouldn't really either, pretty much makes your line slower and a lot more steady. So up here would be the stronger ones. These make it worse, and then not specified, pretty much fair game. Awful. I always use stabilizer on the pen tool because I am not very graceful. So I usually keep it around S5, and you can make really nice lines. So the airbrush tool, you'll see this is exactly how you think it would be. It's an airbrush tool. It's really soft. Usually keep it on a low density, otherwise it's a little bit too harsh for me personally. Let's bring down the size. But you'll see that there's some buttons over here. This is what gives the airbrush look. It has really soft edges. If I put on this, it practically acts like a brush or ink tool. So I want to keep it here if you want to actually make it work like an airbrush, and maybe if you want it a little bit harsher, you can put it on the next setting. I'm going to keep it here. The brush tool has a little bit more features. It has blending, dilution, and persistence. Persistence kind of grabs from the background color. Well, there isn't any right now, so let's put a purple slab. And then let's use a red color. Maybe not so bright. I don't want to hurt anyone's eyes. If you have high persistence, this is going to be really purple. If you have lower persistence, it's going to be a little bit more pink. And then you'll see other things over here. So right now it's on 58 blending, which means it blends decently. I usually keep it around 60 or something. But if you put on really high blending, it's going to be pretty purple. Like the purple and pink are just going to be really hard to blend in. You're going to have to do a lot of pressure to like get it to a different color. Let's change our color. If you have no blending, it's like using an ink pen. But we're going to keep blending in it. And dilution kind of makes it watery, makes it act like a water tool. You can see how it like drags all the colors in. It's kind of cool. So the next thing I wanted to show is these layers and stuff over here. Right now, this is the new layer button. This is new line work layer, transfer down, and merge down. You can also clear a layer, but if you're just going to clear, I would just delete it. I don't really see a reason for this. So here I'm going to show you the clipping group. I use this a lot. It's very helpful. So what this does is it only covers the area underneath the layer. So this one is clipping this layer. So anything touching the image right here is going to be affected. Anything outside is not going to be. I'll show you exactly what I mean by demonstrating right now. So as you see, this is only affected. It's very helpful, and without it, it looks like this. So we're going to get rid of those layers so I can show you something else. So I'm just going to draw a simple bird or something. Just so we can show you the selection process. Here's a very poorly drawn bird with weird eye placement. I'm going to show you how the selection works. So, there's some different things here. The transparencies, the fuzzy is a little bit more lenient and the strict one is obviously more strict. And the color difference is going to determine what area to select based on color. So black and white, it's going to pick it up pretty well, regardless of the setting it's on, except for this one. So what this bar does is how strict it is with determining the color difference, or the transparency difference, works for all of them. So right now it's set to all image. If you just put on working layer, nothing's on it, so it's automatically going to select everything. I'm going to do all image though, because you get to do stuff like that. And if you put the color difference to really low, so it's super strict, you're going to get these white lines, which are no fun. If you get something like this, when you're like, sometimes you'll have stuff like that, even if it's not so black and white, maybe you have different colors in, and you just can't get the thing right, what you can do is go to selection and increment 1. It's going to add one more pixel, and you can see now I'm looking a little bit better. There's some areas still that have some white. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. If it's still not to your style, there is a selection tool, which yours might have pen pressure, mine doesn't. So that's a little bit weird, but that's okay. We'll just set it to 1 pixel, put in the areas. And now you have all the areas selected. You might be wondering, why are you selecting the background of this image instead of the inside? Well, this is why, because I like to select outside the image and then go to invert. So now the entire inside of the image is selected. And as you see, we have this weird black border because I was showing off something I didn't really need to, but you can kind of put it back in. It's close enough. So now we have the inside selected, and that's faster because if I didn't do that and decided to do it the old-fashioned way of selecting every one, it's just a lot slower doing it like that. Also, if you have any edges, it will show up. So you see some areas aren't super blue. Like you'll see when I do that, the areas are finally blue, so there's a good chance because I did it that way that the colors are gonna not completely fill the edges, which isn't that good. So we're just gonna keep it that way. Now because I did that, I can color in my birdie. We'll make it a cockatiel. A skilled cockatiel. So now we have that. So maybe you used some colors and you're like, I don't really like this color scheme. I just want it to be a little bit more red or a little bit more blue or yellow. And you can kind of fix that by going to hue and saturation. This pretty much is like if you want it to be more saturated. You don't want any saturation. This is one way you can grayscale drawing, by the way. Just completely depleted of all saturation. We'll add 7. Or maybe, and if you want it to be different hues, this is how. We'll make it a little bit more red, more luminescent, beautiful. So now you might want this layer to be combined with this layer. And you can do that with the merge down tool. So now it's together. And here, I'll do some more things so I can show you what this option does. The transfer down puts it down instead of merging, so this layer doesn't go away when you do it, but when you do merge down, it just combines it. So if I had like something on the wrong layer, like you wanted this heart to be down there, or kidney bean, just do that instead of, deleting the whole fucking layer. Don't need any of that stuff though. So I want to show off some of the modes. These are really fun. I'm going to take the water tool, which is kind of like the love child of the airbrush and brush tool with a lot of blending, not that much density. And let's use purple because I like purple for shading. And we're going to put this on a clipping group. Now, if you want it to be shaded, you can put it on multiply, which kind of doesn't make much of a difference, but you'll see a huge difference when I put it on shade. It's a lot deeper. So there's that. There's luminosity and shade, which is kind of interesting. So it like shades and makes it also, like it depends the colors I'm going to use. So if I use like a really dark color, it's obviously going to shade, but if I used a really light color, it's going to put on luminosity, which just looks a little bit ridiculous, but it's just to show a point. Airbrush looks, I like using airbrush if I add luminosity for a layer. So if I put this on luminosity, it's a little extreme, but you can lower the opacity. And what you can also do is I use the blur tool a lot for luminosity and shading because it blends it out nicer. Don't want it to be too harsh. You'll see that this button inverts your drawing. Sometimes when you're drawing, like if you've ever drawn and you have like a favorable side, like, oops, I'll do a new layer so I can show you what I'm talking about. If you're ever like, oh, I forgot. You can do Control A to select all the area. I forgot that the small area was selected the whole time. Oops, and that's apparently a clipping group. I don't remember doing that. Let's unclip it. So if you favor drawing to your left, which I usually do, but you want a drawing to be facing to the right, you can literally draw on an inverted side. And then when you invert it back, it's now facing the direction you want. You can also do canvas and flip horizontally and vertically, rotate, all that fun stuff. But I use this a lot because also it's nice to check your drawings at different angles to see if it looks right, because sometimes when it's looking this way you think it looks fine, and you look the other way, you can see some mistakes. So, we don't need that. I want to show off some textures. If you've ever seen drawings where it says to be digital, but it looks like it's on watercolor or canvas, this might be why. If you go to texture, I have a ton, you might not have as many, and you go to, let's say, canvas, this is going to show how large the canvas looks, and this is going to be how like prominent it is. Right now it's on 100, very large scale, you can actually see it taking shape. And if my watercolor ones work, yeah, this one makes it look like it's on a watercolor board. These are fun to play with. I recommend, if you have them, to go ahead and test it out. And lastly, I want to, well, not lastly, actually there's a few things I want to show off. Sometimes you'll have these two little things underneath your tools. Oh, pretty much all of them have it. Almost all of them. But you'll see all these different types of things. These are kind of like the texture things, like the lava one, if at 100%, makes it look like lava. Those looks more like pebbles because of the color. And these ones also add to it. This is clouds. You can combine them and have fun with it. I don't use it too much, but it's fun to play around with. And there's another thing I want to show. I think it's under, oh wait, no, I think it's in Window. In Window you can use a scratch pad if you have a color palette that you want to, oops, I am a mess. If you have colors that you want to use, I guess I'll use the filter. You can save them here without it being on your drawing. And if you wanted to use these, use that and stuff. you can do that. I don't use the scratch pad because what I usually do is my right click automatically picks up the color that it's over. So I usually just go to the area of the image that has the color I want. I steal it because I'm very lazy. So if that sounds something that you do, hopefully that's a helpful tip. So one last thing I want to show. So let's make this a very light layer. This button is very helpful if you don't even have a tablet. This is pretty much how you fake having a tablet, because this tool and this tool and this tool and this tool pretty much can emulate pen pressure. So let's make some line art. Oops, I want to add more weight to it, so this is the size, obviously. So it's the curve tool. It's kind of like the one on Paint, except not as weird and fidgety. And you can make the pressure smaller, larger. You can make it all weird. But the cool thing about it is that you can edit your lines if you messed up. Because Lord knows I do. And there's all these different options. You can delete. But yeah, so if you do line art, that's another way. How I usually do line art now is just putting the pen on, yeah, it's already on S5, on like high stability settings, and just go about my way. So hopefully you found this tutorial helpful. I hope that you use some of the tips I gave you. If you have more questions, feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll get to you, and I'll see you in the next video.